Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about free-for-all games and a discussion of experimentation with how to make them competitive in DOK. Check it. It's going to be cool. So first we want to talk about how it's widely accepted that 1v1 is the most competitive game format in Deserts of Kharak. It's a closed system, and it makes for kind of like, when I describe it to people, I tell them I'm playing fast chess. But there's incomplete information, and there's faction asymmetries. I love DOK. I think it's super fun. I like playing it, and I like watching a good caster tell the story of a match. And I think DOK has plenty of potential, and I hope RTS fans will catch on. I think we're going to continue seeing like the meta improve and people understand the maps better and how to understand build orders better and how that makes them play better 1v1 team games as well as like custom games with new layouts or like weird units or like crazy joke patches. And then all that also, I think, our understanding of how to make and design a balance patch is also going to improve. And I think the key to all of those things is to continue experimenting, tinkering, jamming ideas, sharing information with other people that play, and you got to be having fun the whole time. So with this in mind, I'm going to present my blueprint for organizing experimental FFA competitive play. First, assumption that free-for-all games right now are not engaging because defenders have an advantage in Deserts of Kharak, and there's no artifacts to move players out and about. So basically, the players that eco and defend and stay at home, you can just wait until everybody else dies and then come in and kill the last person, and you win the game. And it's not like waiting around isn't exciting. Assumption number 2, that if assumption number 1 can be remedied by incentivizing players to take engagements early and awarding a score when they perform. The tools that might be able to make that happen are the replay viewer and how it shows how there's a units killed, the CU and the RU values of those units. What you probably aren't aware of is that carriers have a CU and RU cost and awarded to players that make the kill. And right now in vanilla, it's like 20,000 CUs and 5,000 RUs. So like a nice bounty, a nice reward. There's also a timestamp. If you turn this units killed tab into none, you can see the time a little better. It's not great, but it's there. Assumption number 3, that this is a closed system and that keeping your units alive, units lost, doesn't need to be counted, so that we can just focus on the units killed tab and we don't have to get too complicated with things. Assumption number 4, that its unit's utility correlates with its cost. You're not going to build something unless you need it, unless it's worth it. And there are 4 inputs to create a unit: CUs, RUs, time to build, and technology. So technology is derived function of CUs, RUs, and time. It takes time to research the tech for something. It takes time to build an item. It also takes time to mine RUs, and it takes time to mine CUs. So they could all be considered in relation to time. So the replay viewer only displays CU cost and RU cost. So maybe, just maybe, these are sufficient enough to assess the utility of the unit created. Therefore, measuring just the CUs and RUs a player kills in a game can help us measure the performance in the match. If this is true, then we can run FFA tournaments or competitive play without mods. The following is a discussion of the method to run competitive FFA play that is labor intensive, but it gets the job done. If this format is fun and successful, a mod can be created to reduce the labor intensity of ranking games. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Surprise, I have made a spreadsheet. So we're going to start with this sort of data. This is what we can collect using the replay viewer. And somebody working as an admin or mod or whatever is going to have to, moderator, is going to have to go and view the replays of a match and score it. So the way that you can incentivize things, assumption number 2, is to map out how much those CUs and RUs, their value of killing them over time. So maybe you might come up with a formula, but it's early in the game, so earlier, and as the time drops off later in the match, that value is less. So if you're going to have a battle at the half-hour mark in this example, it doesn't matter if you kill a whole army and all of the carriers, they're not going to be worth anything at the half-hour mark. But if you make those kills early, you'll be rewarded more for those kills. For these kills here. Right. Another thing to model is you have to simplify things is to, right now we're comparing RUs to CUs and we don't know how to do that. So a good way to do is exchange the RUs into CUs, both a function of time, using this model of how the rate at which you can mine CUs and RUs, which is the base right here. You can mine CUs much faster than you can mine RUs. So RUs are worth more. They're worth 3 and a bit. But at the beginning of a match, if you include scarcity, where you normally have 4 piles of CUs and 2 piles of RUs, the exchange rate is a little different, so it's around 5. And that can drop off. That makes killing units with RUs much more valuable in the early game. So what you'd want to do is come up with a easy way to score things so that you're going to find because we can't, with a mod might be able to do this later, to come and follow this continuous curve and assess the value for every second of units killed. But we want to make it easy for the moderators, so instead we're going to use discrete time sections, time 1, time 2, time 3, and so on throughout the match, and just go to a point in the match, hit the pause button, and record all the units killed at that moment. And you should make it consistent for whatever league or tournament that you're doing, so that everything can be compared for the same time. And you want to just go to, here's time 1, and record for each player. Player 1, 2, 3, 4, and record it, straight across. So at time 1, this is the CUs killed, their RUs killed. Player 2, their CUs killed, their RUs killed, and so on. So to get those discrete points, simplify it by simply making, taking that continuous function and and picking out those units in time and what the score function is. Do the same also for the exchange rate between RUs and CUs. This is just a blank part of the scoring that we're gonna look at in a bit. This is gonna be our end goal after we go in and input all the data. So I took screenshots at each of these times. Time 1, time 2, time 3, time 4, time 5, time 6. And then I entered those values into the spreadsheet. Then from from all these values, over here, we're going to find out, because these were cumulative, right? On each one. It's always like, the total as you go along. But we want to find out how much was changed in each window of time between point 1 and point 2. Between point 1 and point 2, 500 users killed. Between 0 and time 1, 1,600 units of CUs were killed. Were a bounty. became a bounty. Yeah, so that's a precedent in Homeworld. Remember Homeworld 1? There was a bounty. You got resources for killing other units. Well, you don't get that in this set format. You get points for killing other units. So find out how much damage was done in each window for both the CUs and RUs. And then the section here is adding the CUs to the RUs that are exchanged into CUs, so that you're comparing apples to apples. And then comparing your apples to the scoring function right here, how much it's worth over time. And now you have, for time 1, 1,500 points. For time 2, 475. For time 3, 2,436. Time 4, 5,000, and so on. And then a total of all of these gets the player's score for the entire match. And there you go. You've ranked the performance of all 4 players together. So that's pretty cool. Something that you might not have guessed is that at the end of the game, player 3 had more CUs and RUs killed than player 4. But with this scoring that incentivizes earlier play, player 4 that went out and did damage early got a heck of a lot more points, 1,378 than 550, and was able to finish the match about a little 240 points above this guy and take second place instead of third. Yeah, so that's the big idea. Go check it out. I will also tell you that I've created some more free-for-all layouts, like this one here, Torn Crater, where you have your main base here, and your expansions here and here. There's also this Dune Sea 3-player free-for-all, where you climb up the mountain, and the middle peak here is it's great because you get high ground and the resources. So winning this hill is like everything. It's like king of the hill. And finally, I made a 5-player Kartoba battle with there's logistics modules for all the players in the center. So if you get in there and kill, if you're the first one to the center and you're killing all those logistic modules of the other players, it gives you an advantage because you still have yours. So if you go out and do damage, it's like free CUs. And that applies to both the tracked units as well as the hover units. So the Gaussian, all 4 factions, right? So if you go out and do damage there and protect the middle area, you'll have a slight lead. So there's that, and there's also all the default free-for-all maps, and I don't think I'm missing any. I think that's it. All right, well, go check it out. Good luck. Oh, I guess one last thing, I'm going to put the link to this spreadsheet below so you can use it for yourself.